Today we're going to answer a question from Scott that I think is so useful for all of us, as we often struggle with exactly how to manage this. So let me get to the question and then we'll get to a diving in of an answer together. Scott asks, can you speak more to what it means to have agreements instead of expectations in relationships? What does that look like? How can I let go of expectations in the first place? So I love this question. I'm so excited to dive into it. If you don't know me already, my name is Brianna Borton, and I am here to help you expand your consciousness and awaken your fullest potential. If you would like to hear from me regularly, hit that bell to get alerted when I post a new video every single Monday. All right, so we're gonna dive into this question. And the first thing I would like to talk about is how so often our expectations come from the role and how we expect that role to behave. So we have an expectation that the role of, let's say, mother behaves a certain way. We might have an expectation the role of wife performs a certain way. And these roles and expectations arise from the modeling that we got as children, and also what we see in our culture and in our society and in our media. Now, so much of this comes in without our awareness, without our conscious choice. So we haven't necessarily said, yes, I want to adopt that is how that role should be, but we've seen it so much and it's played out so often that it gets ingrained inside of us that relationships should look like this, that a partner should do this. So all of those shoulds that come from the roles are how we garner these expectations in the first place. And instead, if we could be in the emergent field of experience and creation with the person that we're in relationship with, we would no longer have the shoulds of the role. Instead, we would just be in connection with the other human. When we hold expectations, these shoulds with other people, it's like an unwritten rule book that we have created that we expect the other person to play our game by. We haven't necessarily communicated that. We aren't necessarily consciously writing those rules, but we hold them up and say, I'm playing a game with you and you should have just known all the rules that I was going to be playing by. So expectations often look like a lot of rules and often uncommunicated rules. Agreements, on the other hand, are a co-creation of a playbook that you both choose. So you and the other person come together and you say, I want to experience it like this. So let's come together and co-create agreements that uphold our game and uphold both of us together. So rather than a rule book that only I know the rules of, this is a playbook in which we get to co-create and bring forth the kind of relationship that we want. Agreements have to be spoken. So an expectation is often unspoken. An agreement is necessarily spoken, because it can't be an agreement if the other person hasn't agreed. So let's say you have an agreement in your playbook of your marriage, of monogamy. You have both come forward and said, I would like to be in a monogamous relationship. How about you? And the other person says, yeah, me too. I would like to be in a monogamous relationship. Let's do it like that. Now you have a set of agreements. This is no longer an expectation that the other person is not going to go cheating on you. This is an agreement that you have, that neither of you are going to be with other people. And that's what's created the relationships playbook, right? So you could have also just as easily chosen to be in a polyamorous relationship. And if both people are in agreement with that, then nothing is wrong. Everything is working out just perfectly. So when we look at how to not form expectations in the first place, one of the big things is communication. Because if we have an expectation, something that we think of as a rule that we haven't spoken out loud, sometimes that expectation is actually something that would work as an agreement if it were spoken and both people chose into it. So we'll use that same circumstance again. If you never talked about whether or not you were going to be in a monogamous relationship, right? But you had an expectation that that's just how marriage went, right? But the other person had an expectation that that's not at all how marriage went, then you will find yourself in a place where things are not aligning. The game can no longer be played because you're playing by different rules because you didn't communicate. So if you want to avoid expectations, the main thing is to release the roles, come into real relationship with each other in the emergent field of creation, and communicate. Communicate what you're wanting to create, and then seeing if you can find mutually agreed upon ways in which you want to write what you're going to do together. Now, in romantic relationship, I feel like this gets to be more and more obvious. But we have these things with all sorts of people. Sometimes we have this with our children or our parents or our coworkers or our boss. And when we have expectations, let's say that our mother will always be there for us, and then we call our mother and she is busy doing something else, we can feel deflated, we can feel like misaligned, we can feel distant, rather than actually seeing if that's an agreement that you can have. And your mother may say, no, I cannot have the agreement to always be there for you because sometimes I am doing many other things in my life. Like sometimes I'm scuba diving and I just cannot possibly answer my phone, right? And so if you were to say, this is my expectation, she may say, well, I can't meet that expectation, but I could make an agreement that if you reach out to me, as soon as I hear from you, as soon as I have the ability to, I will get back to you. Now you have an agreement, and agreements create really beautiful relationships because everyone knows what the playing rules are. And you're actually able to build upon the love that's already there and start to create so much trust and openness, and all of this happens through beautiful communication. So I'm so grateful for this question, Scott. I imagine that this is greatly impactful for so many people and their relationships. And for all of you, if you enjoyed this video, if it was useful for you, or if you feel like maybe somebody that you're in a relationship with might want to come together with you to create agreements and you want to share this video with them, please do. It would mean so much to me. And please also, if you liked this video, like it, subscribe to my channel. I love getting to have these deepening conversations with you. I can't wait to talk to you soon.